Welcome back. Just before the break, we were asking our special guests on the appointment and removal of commissioners. Now we are going back to election process, and how do we deal with the many staff in the IEBC? Who goes about managing the whole process in the ground?
That's now in respect to the election.
Yes.
What happens is that within or before the lapse of 120 days, the IEBC will receive a list of candidates from each party that is running for which position. After that is now when the IEBC prepares for the elections proper.
Okay.
Of course, right now after the registration of voters, what is happening is voter verification.
Yeah.
Voter verification is the removal of persons who have since died,
Yeah.
persons who have registered twice, and persons who are registered in more than 2 or 3 polling stations. Also, there is also the registration of people in diaspora that still taking place, that has not been closed. And then now, when it comes to the elections, that is the list that the IEBC, the verified list, that's the list that the IEBC will use when it comes to the day of the elections. And the other thing is that there was also a proposal to amend the law in terms of having a popular name for a candidate. Popular name means not the names that you are known by.
Your official names.
Your official names. For example, we used to know Waitito as
Ferdinand
Waitito, but he's also known as Babayao. Yeah? But he has since now acquired Babayao as his official name. But if he had not, there was a proposal to have that name, Babayao, provided for or appearing on the nomination papers and the election papers. So that come the election day, a voter will not have difficulties identifying the candidate he's voting for.
So at the beginning you told us that the voting registration imefungwa kwa sasa.
Yes.
So those who have registered, what are their rights?
Their rights is to ensure that you wake up on the 9th of August and cast your vote. So to ensure that you cast your vote, so that even at the time comes, we will not have a low voter turnout. And low voter turnout, it means that now as a country we are represented by a person who has been elected by the smallest number of people. So it's important that people come out to vote.
If, for example, there is someone who's disabled or bedridden, are there measures that the IEBC has taken to ensure that they cast their vote?
Yes, and the IEBC has always provided a stream in the polling stations, because in the polling stations there are many streams in terms of queues where people are going to vote. So there is always one that is identified for persons who are not able to stand on their feet, expectant women, the old and the elderly, so that they can cast their vote fast and leave the station.
Now, what is the essence of voting a secret ballot? What is the essence of all that?
It's a secret ballot because we don't want to preempt, number one. Secondly, when you have the Mlolongo voting like it happened in 1988, you remember history bears us right that the smaller queues were the winning candidates.
Yeah.
So secret ballot is to ensure that when you are voting or when you're casting your vote, you are casting it from a point of information. You're casting it not being influenced by the surrounding, and you're casting it with the confidence that the candidate you're voting is the right person to carry on the manifesto of a particular region.
Talking about coalitions, and now we have the Azimio and the like.
Yes.
Kindly tell us or explain to us what is the position regarding coalitions?
Now, that's another realm which is governed under the Political Parties Act. Previously, what used to happen is that a party used to close its. The party is either closes its doors and joins another party, or two parties they deregister and form a new coalition, or a party and another party they form a coalition agreement and deposit with the registrar of political parties within 160 days before the elections. Actually, it's 6 months, 6 months before the elections. Currently, the recent amendment, which was hotly contested, is quite interesting because what it has done, it has created a provision for a party to be a member of another political party.
Wow.
So that necessarily means we don't need to have so many coalitions. For example, Jubilee can be a member of ODM and sustain its own original character as Jubilee.
Wow.
But in the end of the day, it's supporting the ODM candidate. Equally, UDA can be a member of a political party or another party becoming a member of UDA. That ensures that the political party does not lose its character. It retains its original form. It can field candidates in particular regions and support another candidate in another region for another political party.
So that means those small other that are joining the coalition, for example, the UDA, they cannot choose a president of their own.
Once you join a political party as a political party joining another political party as a member, then it means you're already forming a coalition. And that coalition, you are out to support a particular candidate for presidency. So that means now you'll not be fielding your own political candidate at the highest level, president. Yeah.
Okay, when you're talking about such a situation, can we put it in a situation like a company whereby, for example, UDA will have one share, just like a normal individual, or what voting right does it have?
Now, we may not bring it to that realm because the political capital is different in terms of what are you gaining, what are you looking at gaining as a party, and what ideologies are you looking out to have or to push forward. The advantage is that it gives that party a pedestal on the platform of the negotiation table. You've seen in the past that the current governor of Meru, when he was asked to shut the door of the bus, you remember?
Yeah.
Now that means he has no negotiation platform when it comes to sharing of power and portfolios. But the moment now a political party becomes a member of another political party and is not being dissolved, it gives you a pedestal to negotiate from. That is why you've seen a lot of acrimony from some quarters in regard to UDA. UDA has welcomed Musalia Mudavadi, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi and Honorable Wetangula, but it's also shutting doors for coalitions from other regions. It's bringing a lot of acrimony because you're not giving people from a particular region a pedestal or a negotiation platform in terms of resource allocation and parliamentary lobbying. Because political parties, majorly after elections, they become a powerful tool in parliament in terms of lobbying for particular laws, lobbying for policies of government. Yes.
Now, Wakili, I want us to go back in the days, not in 2017, while we were choosing a president.
Yes.
You remember, even the viewer can attest to that. Tulikuwa na marudio ya kura. We chose a president, but then we went back to the ballot. So this time round, we are at the election period. And as you know, or as you've heard, the politicians have spoken and have said, hakutakuwa na marudio ya kura, like a good number of them. Some of them, they are saying, there is no enough money to do that, and what have you. But you get to understand, kumekuwa na shida sana hapa nchini about elections. So what is the main, what is that thing that usually makes us go back to the ballot, like maybe to choose a president?
It's simply when a president-elect does not meet the bare minimum to become a president-elect. The bare minimum to become a president-elect is that you must garner at least 51% of the votes cast. You must equally have a minimum of 24, you must win in a minimum of 24 counties out of the 47 counties. So in the event that there is no presidential candidate who garners those two, then it means we are going to have a real runoff.
Yeah.
For purposes of ascertaining who is the preferred candidate to govern the country.
So if we have a run-up again, wale wote wenye walikuwa pale kwa ballot paper ndo watakuwa pale, ama we will have two specific people?
It's only the two leading candidates who go for election in the runoff. Only the two leading.
So what happens when one of them decides to quit?
We saw this in 2017 when Honorable Raila Odinga quit the elections, but we still went ahead to conduct the election because that's what the law says. We cannot short circuit the law when the law says that we have to have a runoff and there's no candidate who has qualified and you pull out. We still have to go for a runoff because that's the law. You have to follow it to the letter.
Okay. Talking about the election process and the judicial process regarding elections, the other day the CJ said that the judiciary is ready to take up election matters. Does the judiciary have maybe a time frame within which to deal with the election matters?
Oh yes, extremely. You remember, I think it's the 2013 election where the presidency election petition, Honorable Raila Odinga was barred from filing an affidavit.
Yes.
And he was barred because the constitution sets the limit, the number of days, that once elections are declared today, the election petition must be filed within 7 days.
Yes.
Once filed within 7 days, it must be heard and concluded within 14 days. That's a constitutional provision. We cannot change that.
Yes.
Unless we conduct a referendum to change that. Equally, in other elective positions, the law provides that the election petitions must be concluded within 6 months. Why was this brought, or why was this brought as a law? It was brought a law because history is very important to us as a country.
Yes.
When President Moi and President Kibaki were competing in 1997, an election petition was filed as against the then President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi.
Yeah.
But it was filed at the Court of Appeal, served. It was very difficult to find Moi because you had to serve him physically. And the election petition was heard for a full 5 years. The term lapses even before the petition is heard. So this had to be legislated to ensure that people are represented by the candidates that they chose. People have to be represented by a candidate who wins the elections fairly and squarely. So within 6 months after presentation of an election petition, the law says it must be heard and determined and a judgment delivered. That's why you will even see this year, after the elections, the courts will be so busy with matters election. And they'll have to put other matters aside to deal with the elections.
Interesting.
Now, Wakili, just maybe the last question, because our time is really... what can you say about the IEBC, keeping in mind there have been issues here and there? As a person who deals with the constitution and everything, what can you say about our IEBC?
I believe one of the things that we must cultivate as Kenyans is having trust and confidence in our institutions. And that begins from the lowest level to the highest level. There might be some imperfections about the IEBC. There might have been late in terms of recruiting the other commissioners, but we must believe in the institution because that's the institution that is going to deliver the elections to us. And if the election becomes contested, just because we didn't believe in the body, then it will be a wrong premises for us to live in as a country, and it will be a recipe for violence. So I believe the IEBC is well equipped, well prepared, and it's ready to conduct the elections.
So in other words, we are ready to hold an election.
We are ready to hold the elections, correct.
As a parting shot, you being an election expert,
Yeah.
who dealt with matters with the constitutional and all that.
Yes.
What can you tell the viewer to encourage them to come out on the 9th of August? It's 9th of August?
9th of August.
Right.
My appeal to viewers, this country was bequeathed to us by our forefathers. This country belongs to us through our parents. This country is ours today, and tomorrow we shall leave this country. It's important that every person we comes out to vote, so that we ensure the country that we are bequeathing to our children is a better country than we received from our forefathers. Prepare yourselves. As the Prime Minister says, bunduki ni ID, na risasi ni voters card. So let's prepare ourselves for 9th of August to cast our votes.
Now, my awesome viewers, I have my voter's card. I don't know. Do you?
I think I do.
Yes.
I'm sure where it is.
We've come to an end of our show. My name is Purity Nabukaki.
And mine is Beatrice Mohende. Thank you.